episode 22, take 2. How do you like that?
Oh, I'm glad.
So we decided that we're just gonna redo the episode because some things there was some misinformations and some things didn't happen according to plan. So we're redoing the damn thing, and we're actually gonna start the show backwards from the way we did it last. So we're gonna start with Dana White's Contender Series, then we'll move on to LFA 74, and then we'll move on to the UFC. But in that theme, you heard By the Gods, and I am the host, Steve the Dick, and with me on the phone, and should be right here, is the one and only Crazy J. How you doing, man?
What's happening? I'm just a crazy man.
That was crazy. It scared the shit out of me. I was not expecting that. I
So, I look funny as shit on my little video screen, so you'll get a laugh.
I can't wait to see this. Alright, so like I said, we had 3 cards, and we'll actually sneak in the results for your Wednesday Night Warriors. We didn't watch it, but Jonathan has the results for that, so he'll at least give results. We'll probably throw that in, well, after Dana White's Contender Series. Fuck it. Sound good to you?
Okay. Sounds good to me.
Alright, let me close this one. I don't need that one anymore. So, Dana White's Contender Series Season 3 finale. It had 5 fights, and it had 3 contracts, and there was a contract that, or a fight that didn't get a contract that I felt should. And that's your boy, Impa. Can you help me out with this one, John?
Kasangane?
Kasangane.
Yeah, Kasangane. That's
Okay.
Probably butchering that name, but I'm saying how it sounds.
Okay, so we can only do what we did in elementary school, and that's sound it out. I can't tell you how many times I was told that. Well, what is this? How do you say this word? Sound it out. Bringing back really horrible memories now. And as you can see, the diet's over, so I'm drinking a Dos Equis.
Lucky, I've got my aqua. Ooh, I ran out of aqua. This is gonna be a fun episode.
I have water right here too. Gotta stay hydrated. So where's your fucking your goddamn the water that you drink? The what is that shit called?
Oh, the
body armor. Yeah, where's your body armor at?
I forgot to make a trip to the store earlier. I got like sidetracked and stuff to do at the house, and after we had got done before, and I spaced it, man.
Well, to be fair, this is the second time we're doing the damn thing, so all is forgiven. I'm sure body armor is not it's not phased in the slightest. So let's talk about this Dana White Contender Series Season 3 finale. They dubbed it 26. So I think next year they'll start at 27 maybe.
You would think.
Let's hope. Anyway, so I guess the main card is the whole card. TJ Brown defeated Dylan Lockard. Wow, I'm one sip in and already, I can't talk. TJ Brown got a point taken away in the very first round?
Yeah, it was an illegal knee.
Yeah, so it was a knee to a grounded opponent, and the ref, took a point. I felt it was the right call. That was the right call. Dylan was able to continue, and kind of still was in the fight. And I felt, at least this is the way that I felt, that TJ Brown probably needed a win a finish, if he was going to try and secure a contract. I mean, you lose a point with an illegal move, and it was, I don't think he was trying to be malicious when he threw the knee.
No, he wasn't.
So, but anyways, he gets the arm triangle choke in round 3, right around 3 minutes. And then Justin Joinson versus Ben Sassoli ruled a no contest, an accidental eye poke here. There was lots of people just making fun of Dustin, basically telling him he took the easy way out. Which, I mean, if you look at his eye was pretty messed up. But I guess my opinion on it is, look, I wouldn't want to be taking bombs from Ben Sassoli if I only have one eye.
Oh,
So
definitely.
I would have probably done the same thing in his situation, but the only thing that's really stopping me from telling everybody to shut the fuck up about this is if I get a hair in my eye, dude, it's the end of the fucking world. I said as much on Twitter. No, it's the end of the fucking world. If anything touches my eyeball, like, that's it. I'm freaking out. I'm fucking, I'm on the ground screaming, and this guy was just like, oh yeah, I can't see out of my eye. Like, I get it, their fighters are a little bit tougher than me and you, but, I mean, come on, if your eyeball's that fucked up that you can't fight, like, but, like I said, I don't blame him for taking the out, and it doesn't go on as a DQ win, it doesn't go on as anything other than a no contest. That's it. The fight never fucking happened. And you know what? It never really got started, if I'm being quite honest with you. Dustin was trying his kicks and, trying to manage distance, and Sassoli was just coming in with bombs. Unfortunately, one of his bombs included a thumb, right in the eyeball. And this wasn't your Daniel Cormier thumb. This was completely on accident. He threw an uppercut, and, when you throw an uppercut, your thumb with the gloves, it kind of sticks out a little bit. And bink, you got him right there in the eye. So, no contract was given there. Excuse me. Peter Barrett defeated Sang Hoon Yu, and a lot of people were up on this Sang Hoon Yu guy, and I don't know. I didn't see anything. I mean, entertaining, yes, but definitely not there competition-wise. A lot of his previous competition was very low. You know what I mean? So, and Peter Barrett, he's tough, and fights like he doesn't give a shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was definitely like his attitude. Like, I don't give a shit. Oh, you're gonna fucking hit me? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm just
always pushing forward.
Yeah. So I believe him and TJ Brown both got contracts. Yeah.
Yep. He was the second fighter of the night to get a contract.
Okay, and then we move on to Impa Kasangane. We'll just Impa. He defeated Kalen Hill, which Kalen Hill was the biggest favorite on the card, and rightfully so. The dude's been on the ESPN top 10 or whatever they do a few times, basically every time he fights, I should say. A finisher, explosive guy, exciting. I mean, this guy was, probably the next big thing. And Impa put a veteran savvy performance on Kalen Hill, which is why I'm surprised there was no contract given here, not even one of those developmental deals. It's like,
I think what it was just that he didn't have enough fights under his belt. I think this fight made him like 5 and something, like 5-0 or something, or 5-1 or something, whatever.
No, I think.
He's 6-0.
Yeah.
And so Dana said that he has a lot of promise. Just not with the UFC right now. He thinks that he doesn't have enough experience under his belt, I guess, to maintain his, life in the UFC. I don't know if that makes any sense, but, like, he doesn't want him to get hurt. And I'm like, well, if he's putting on performances like that, I don't think he's going to be getting hurt. But, I'm not the boss, so.
Well, see, and that's what kind of grinds my gears about the whole thing. This Dana White's Contender Series, why the fuck are you putting him on there if you're not going to, eventually give them a contract if they put on a good enough performance? I thought that performance was contract worthy. He looked like a goddamn veteran. He's only been fighting for months. Jonathan, not years, months. Okay? And the guy looked like he looked like a pro out there. You know what I mean? I get it, he is a professional. But why the fuck are you putting him on the show if they win and they do it impressively? 2 check marks there. He won and he did it impressively, especially against a guy like Kalen Hill, a guy that usually makes people, look at the roof when they wake up. I mean, come on, man. I don't understand that. So I mean, don't bring guys on if that happens. If that's going to be a thing, you know what I mean? So go ahead.
Well, he also said that a cool thing that's going to be coming back is the Ultimate Fighter.
Ooh.
So he did say that if Impa can go and get a couple of more wins somewhere else, like maybe like a local promotion or maybe even come to the LFA or something like that.
I was gonna say, yeah, the LFA is definitely where you want to be if you want to get to the UFC.
Yeah, definitely. So he said if you can get a couple of more fights in, get a little bit more experience under his belt, he said you'll get a call for that Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, and let's talk about that Ultimate Fighter. Stoked they're bringing it back. Now, I think Dana White's Contender Series kind of sold me a little bit more on the Ultimate Fighter. So me and my wife, we watched the Ultimate Fighter together. We've watched every season since we've been together, and she likes the stories. So she likes, I worked nights for the first, the bulk of when we first got together. So I would have to watch it not live. So I would have to watch the recording. So I would just fast forward to the fight because I want to see who fucking won. I want to see who's the best in the house. She wants to hear, what brought them to fighting? Why are they on the Ultimate Fighter? What kind of shit do they have going on at home? You know what I mean? She liked the storylines, and I didn't. I was just like, nope, I just want to see who's the best. I get it. This guy's a dick because his dog died. Like, I don't care. I don't care. I just want to see who the best is. But since we've been watching this Dana White's Contender Series, I've been kind of enjoying the storytelling. So
some of those stories are, how they got to where they are. That is really interesting.
Well, and it just shows you a lot of the personal adversity that a lot of these fighters have to go through. And I get it. There's people out there that aren't, professional fighters trying to get into the UFC or on any type of show. But I mean, it brings out the human element in these professional athletes. So I might have a different outlook on the Ultimate Fighter. I'm glad they're bringing it back. I really enjoyed the show. I like the coaches challenge. I want to see who the coaches are gonna fucking be, because usually there's beef there. I'm stoked. So give me more of that shit. Plus, that's more weeknight fights. I'm so down for weeknight fights, which is why. Oh, well, okay. Anyways, I was saying that's more weekday fights. I'm all about weekday fights or weeknight fights, right? Because you got the Tuesday Night Contender Series. We're gonna start watching this Warrior Wednesdays. So give me some more fights during the week. I'm all about it. Okay, and then this next, the main event for the Contender Series was Dusko Todorovic versus Teddy Ash, and this was, I'm not sure if the guy was What am I? I am Croatian. Yeah, so this kid's Croatian, right?
I think so.
Okay, so I think Todorovic is Croatian or Ukraine or some Eastern European white boy, but and Teddy Ash was Canadian. So this was a pretty interesting fight. I'm really surprised that both guys didn't get a contract here. I thought they were both worthy of a contract because I didn't really see a loser.
Yeah.
So so that concludes the Contender Series. So Dusko, Peter, and TJ Brown were the contract winners, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so the one guy that got the finish, he secures a contract, and the other two guys, they had decisions, so,
yep.
But still got the contract. So good for them. I'm glad that just because you don't get the finish means you're fucked out of a contract. So, but definitely felt that both guys. I mean, am I alone here, or did you feel the same that both guys in the main event should have got the contract?
I think they both should have, and I think that probably would have been the first time, probably ever in the history of the series, that a possible loser would have gotten a contract as well, just based on how they fought, because it really didn't seem like he came out a loser in that fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and well, here's the thing too: is just because you lose on Contender Series doesn't mean you won't get a UFC contract. Now check this out. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, John, correct me if I'm wrong with your wizardry over there in Sierra Vista, but Casey Kenny, he's 2-0 in the UFC's bantamweight division right now. He's the LFA champ. He was the flyweight champion and the bantamweight champion over there at the LFA. But I think he was on the Contender Series, and he lost. And look at where he's at now, 2-0 in the UFC. So verify that for me so I don't sound like an asshole. Well, I guess you'll make me sound like a bigger asshole if I'm wrong. So, but there's your Contender Series. Now, up next we had LFA 74. Okay, another fun fight, and let's just go ahead and get this out of the way. There's a fight here that isn't mentioned on the site that we are using, and it was Steve Cazzola versus, what's the other guy's name?
Salvador Becerra Jr.
Okay, yeah, so Becerra, he ended up getting the decision over Steve Cazzola. So, yeah, we don't have that in front of us. The site that we use doesn't have that fight, but luckily Crazy J over there, he takes notes. So if somebody misses something, he picks up the slack. Good for you. Good for you.
Oh, and to answer your question from earlier, well, not even earlier, like 2 minutes ago, he is 2-0 in the UFC right now.
Okay, and his only loss was on the Contender Series, yeah?
Yeah, his only loss is on the Contender Series.
Oh, I don't want to toot my own horn, but toot toot!
Motherfucker!
I know a little bit about this MMA shit, I guess. If I'm going to do an MMA show, I better. Alright, to open up LFA 74, which took place in Riverside, California, at the Municipal Auditorium in Riverside. This was headlined by Renan Ferreira versus Jared Vandera. This is a heavyweight clash. Renan, or Problema, I'm just going to call him Problema. It's easier than Renan or Ferreira. And it makes me sound less white while sounding white. Problema was in the heavyweight tournament that LFA had, and he was disqualified in the first round due to illegal strikes to the back of the head. LFA still gave him another chance. Apparently this guy's got a lot of promise, so he headlines LFA 74. But we'll get to that in a second. I want to start from the opening bout and work my way forward, because Spike Carlisle definitely deserves his fucking credit for this spinning back elbow knockout over Matthew Calhoun.
Yeah, dude, that shit was fucking nuts.
Yeah, the Alpha Ginger, and that's at Alpha Ginger MMA. Okay, we're gonna give this guy a fucking shout out because that was crazy. This guy, okay, his opponent like 6'3" or 6'5" or some shit like that, and they're fighting like at 155 or 145 pounds. I'm not really sure with the weight class. Do you have notes?
Give me just a second. 145.
Holy shit! Okay. Well, these guys are only 145 pounds, and Spike is like my height. I mean, you could tell by the video I'm not a very large guy, except for this way. Oh, shit. I'm elbowing shit behind me, my bad. But, yeah, he's my height. The guy he was fighting is like, way up there, like my buddy Liam. And he's, short, so he's going for the takedowns. And it doesn't seem like anything is really going his way. And I think Matt just went a little bit too hard on trying to press the action off of a takedown and walked right into a spinning back elbow, and it was gorgeous.
Yeah, I was, as soon as I got home, I turned the fight on and I was going to the bathroom, and all of a sudden I just hear, "Oh my God, did you see that?" And I was like, "No, I didn't." So I
You talking to your TV? No, you motherfucker, I'm in the bathroom.
And so I saw the replay and I was like, "Oh, dude, he's getting clean too."
Oh, man. And, you know, Matt was in disbelief when he was waking up. He looked like he didn't know that the fight was over. So, Spike Carlisle, the dude has a certain kind of fucking look and a certain kind of swagger. Because as soon as he landed, he was walking away with his fucking head in the fucking clouds already. He was fucking like on cloud 9. He knew what he had just done. So, I expect him to, you know, play somewhere more prominent on the card. I know they used him as an opener because both these guys tend to be exciting, but that deserves, you know, some co-main or some main event or even like
maybe a feature bout.
Yeah, something like that, because that was fucking awesome. You know, and the LFA is kind of known for their lighter weight classes to be pretty fucking good. I mean, we were talking about bantamweight. I mean, you had a bantamweight fight here, Ludwig Sholinian versus Vince Cachero, and then Kevin Worth versus Ryan Lilly. Those are like 4 badass bantamweights there. But then think about it. You have Kyle the Hoosier Estrada. You have Anthony Burchak, El Toro. You have Rafael Stotts. I mean, dude, the list goes on. Bantamweight, Levi Miles, Yanez. I mean, bruv, bantamweight is stacked over at LFA. And you can put any one of these guys against each other. I'd pay to see that. I'd pay to see that.
Oh, yeah.
Leandro Gomez defeated Anthony Jimenez via knee bar in round 1. About 3 minutes in, but Gomez was, is it Gomez or Gomes?
I believe they might have been saying Gomez. Maybe. I missed it. I was in awe of the knee bar, so I was like, I don't even know what to call it.
Yeah, it was a pretty slick knee bar, but Leandro definitely came in with a pace and a pressure and was looking to end the fight in the first round. He was fighting like there was only 1 round to get it done. And he did.
Yeah.
He secured the knee bar in round 1, so good for him. It's not too often you see knee bars anymore. Knee bars, heel hooks, you know, the leg types of submissions, they're not as rare as like an omoplata or a gogoplata or anything like that, but they're not as common as like your arm bars or your guillotines or your rear naked chokes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool to see a knee bar, and yeah, that kid better have tapped, because if not, his leg would have been fucked. His knee would have been shredded.
Definitely.
Okay, and then we had an interview with Vince Cachero last week in advance for his fight at LFA 74, and it didn't go his way on the scorecards. Ludwig Sholinian, if I can get it out correctly, he edged a split decision. There was a couple 29-28s for Ludwig, but 30-26 for Cachero, which I don't know what fight they were watching, but they must have been hitting the bottle or something. Because, I mean, look, Vince made it competitive, and I agree he did win the first round, or was it the second? He did win one of the rounds. I know that I gave him a round. I'd have to go back to my Twitter, and my phone's like...
I think I can give Ludwig the first round, Vince the second round, and Ludwig the third one.
You know, I think you're right. I'm starting to remember my Twitter conversations, because we live tweeted this shit. I think I remember it was 1-1 going into the third, and you know, Cachero needed to, you know, not get taken down, and Ludwig needed to get the takedown. So, but yeah, your split decision goes there with the wild card of 30-26 for Cachero, which is interesting to say the least. They really need to do something about this judging. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Lucas Jota defeated Moses Morieta via knockout in 24 seconds. Much like Leandro, Lucas was not fucking around. He was not fucking around at LFA 74. He was like, yeah, I come here to fight. I come here to knock you out. And he did. Fast.
With ease, it looked like, too.
I mean, the combinations that he was throwing, and you just see his fucking head like damn, I feel bad for not only his head, but his neck. You know what I mean? He looked like I don't know, like a bobblehead or a door stopper that you just like smack and watch it go fucking back and forth. It kind of looked like that. You know what I mean?
You remember playing Mortal Kombat, right? You know, like when you're doing the button mashing and all you're doing is just hitting that one button, and they're doing that little like weird like just standing punching.
And they're going, ooh, 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 ooh.
But that's what it was. I was like, he just straight up like button mashed that guy. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he button mashed him, and 24 seconds later came out with a knockout victory. So, and Moses was coming back from a title loss to Brendan Allen, who is now in the UFC. So it's not like Moses is, a bitch or nothing. I mean, dude got to the LFA title for a reason, but Lucas just gave him zero fucks about any credentials or any records or whatever. So he improves to 13-8. So just like I said before, records are for DJs, man. And file cabinets. You can put records in file cabinets. I think so. I think so, but definitely not for MMA. Definitely not for MMA. Kevin Worth, he defeated another interview fighter. We interviewed Ryan the same, I think it was a day after we interviewed Cachero. This was your co-main event. Ryan Lilly trains over there with Boss Rutan. Boss Rutan was in his corner. And it was actually kind of cool to see Boss on the broadcast. It brought back some good memories. But yeah, it seemed like Ryan was kind of stuck in his own head. Worth was just throwing too much. Too many different attacks, lots of spinning shit, and I think it was really getting to Ryan's head. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he was on turbo move too, the way that he was fucking moving around the ring. He was like just boom, 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 and it's like, dude, you gotta stop so I can try to hit you. And it didn't work.
Yeah, the movement from Worth is really, it reminds me a little bit of like your Dominic Cruzes, your TJ Dillashaws, and your Corey Sandhagens. Guys that are Cody Garbrandt. Guys that just have excellent footwork and, great feints that trick you into thinking something's coming when it's not. I'm trying not to sneeze here. Let me see. Yeah, sorry. Allergies. But it's that type of style, it like stifles you. It stops you in your tracks because you don't know what to expect. So it's paralyzing is really what it is. And that's what happened to Ryan Lilly here. He got stuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, which sucks because Ryan was ranked here. So I'd expect Kevin Worth to enter LFA rankings, at least at number 5. You take out the number 4, you should, ideally, get at least number 5, right? Because they only do top 5 there. But in their bantamweight division, dude, they could do top 15. They're so deep. And then your main event, Renan Problema defeated Jared Vandera via triangle choke, but not before he smashed Vandera.
Dude, like...
That was a lot of blood.
I still don't understand how Vandera is still alive. Like, dude, if I would have taken any of those elbows or punches, and like, it was crazy. Problema went from hammer fist to straight punching to fucking elbows. And Vandera was still like, no man, I'm still here, you're not gonna fucking knock me out. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, but then he made a mistake, and got caught in a triangle, which I think had he not taken all of that punishment, he probably would have been wise to what Problema was doing and not got caught. But much to his credit, he stayed in the fight long enough to get caught. So a lot of people are high up on Problema. He's a big guy. He's like 6'4", 6'5", 200 and some pounds. Probably like, 240, 250, somewhere in there. He's a big guy. The only knock that I have about this guy is he's pretty green. I like his athleticism. He's pretty quick for a heavyweight. He needs to work on his cardio and tucking his chin. I think if he solves those 2 issues, and maybe like sharpens up his striking, because he was still throwing a little wild. Like, I get it. All you have to do is touch somebody when you're that big and they go to sleep. But I just think there's a few things that he needs to shore up, and the dude could be a real big problema. Especially with his size and, you know, how nimble he is on his feet. You know, he's pretty agile for a heavyweight, which is not very common for guys his, like, weight. You know? So, that concludes LFA 74. And next week they got LFA 75. Do we know where?
In Salt Lake City, Utah, at the Maverick Center.
Ooh, I think the last time they went to Utah, Josh Berkman retired, if I'm not mistaken. You should look up Josh Berkman's last fight and see if I'm right. We'll just make this a fucking game. Let's just see if my knowledge is accurate. Right?
Is it Josh Berkman?
Yeah, Josh Berkman. Probably one of the fucking... I love watching that dude fight. I'm so bummed he retired, but, you know, he's getting up there in age. Yeah, Josh Berkman. His last fight was in LFA. He fought the Brazilian... I forget the dude's name. So...
He fought... His last fight looked like...
An M. The guy...
In LFA, he lost to William Macario.
I was not even close. Well, an upside down M is a W. So, and that was in Utah?
Let's see. It was in Salt Lake City, Utah. Oh, this one was in West Valley City, Utah.
Well, I didn't say any city, okay? I said the state. That's all I cared about.
Yeah.
I'm right, so that's all that matters. It was in Utah. So, another one in the bank for Steve. So, yeah, last time LFA was in Utah, Josh Berkman retired. So, but the rest of the card, if my memory is accurate, was electric. So, but I don't know if that was due to, you know, just Utah itself having great fighters, or if Josh Berkman being on the card is just, that dude is fireworks. That'll probably be in, at least one of his fights will be in our time capsule commentary, which we'll get to. Actually, let's go ahead and talk about that real quick. So me and Crazy J, we're going to start a new segment, and this is going to be on our Patreon, because we haven't had fucking anything new on the Patreon in forever. All that's up there is all the shit you see here and everything you hear on Podbean. Okay, so we're going to try something different. We're going to bring a series to the Patreon, and it's going to be Patreon specific. You're not going to be able to watch this anywhere else. And what it is going to be is we're going to call it Time Capsule Commentary. We're going to watch old, exciting fights. And when I say old, I just mean they have to be at least yesterday or farther back in history, right? And we can't, it's illegal to have like the commentary playing, I'm sure, for, you know, copyright reasons or whatever. But that's okay, because we're going to have our own commentary. And we're going to have the drinks and the snacks and whatever else we deem necessary to make it entertaining for you. So we will go ahead and let you know when the first one drops. And it's probably, we might do it here in the studio, we might do it out in the living room where I've got a bigger TV. I have no fucking idea where it's going to be or how it's going to happen, but it's going to fucking happen. And then we're also going to start doing the pre-fight shows. We'll start with the pay-per-views, right, John? I mean, I don't think we have to go with every single fight card, but at least with the UFC pay-per-views. I mean, since I'm paying for the fucking things, might as well, you know, highlight them a little bit more, yeah?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Okay, and then what else do we got going on? We're working on a couple other small series things that we want to get off the ground, because I'm tired of looking at them in my fucking notes. Like, why are they there if we're not doing them? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I know the biggest reason is, you know, I'm here in SB, and you are up there in Tucson. And so we're going to try to work on that, and, you know, getting me up there to Tucson so that way we can get our shit taken care of.
Well, and really what, ultimately we need Jonathan to move to Sierra Vista. That is no fucking secret, because it will improve the show, and we will be able to do more for you, because that's what we're trying to do. We are trying to make a show that you guys actually want to tune into, with extras and whatnots. And we don't care how ridiculous we look, as long as you find it entertaining, we'll do it. We'll do it.
Speaking of ridiculous, we're also trying to get our gym short series. I don't know if you had mentioned that, but
I hadn't yet, but I think I have a gym in mind that we'll get started. I know that I had talked to him about the idea, and we were waiting for him to move, and now that he's moved and settled in pretty good, a couple weeks now, maybe we can get that show off the ground. But yeah, definitely gym shorts. If you want to see me and Jonathan get our asses kicked by professional fighters, Krav Maga'ers, or Jiu-Jitsu dudes, or whatever, if you just want to see us in pain, watch out for gym shorts, because that's coming in the future. I think for right now, that's all we got for shows for us. But we're going to try and bring you the most awesome, exciting content. It's going to be cheesy. It's going to be low budget, but it's going to be funny as fuck. It's going to be funny. And I promise pain. I do promise pain. Yeah, very ridiculous. Let's, real quick, go ahead and go over the results for Warrior Wednesday. And then we'll go ahead and jump into UFC Shenzhen out in China. But definitely want to give this Warrior Wednesday some love. And next time they have an event, we're going to watch it. And it's going to make the show. It's going to make the show. So go ahead and go over results, my man.
Alright, so I'm going to go over Warrior Wednesday, the WXC 81. It was headlined by Jose Johnson and Pipe Vargas. But I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up.
Started from the bottom, now we're here. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So, your opening fight, you had Daniel Angel Mayer defeating Eric Schallenberger. He won by submission, armbar. In round 1, 4 minutes and 43 seconds. Yeah, the guy was not playing around. Your second fight that we had is Josh Shaw defeating Andrew Carson by submission with a dart choke. Round 1, 2 minutes, 18 seconds.
Wow. Yeah.
I watched this for on my own. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Your third fight, we had Taylor Moore defeating Josh Robertson. Another submission, triangle choke.
Nice.
There's no round or time.
Okay.
Co-main, you had Jeffy Bazzi defeating Josh Smith via submission, guillotine choke, round 2 in 34 seconds. Round 2, damn. Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch this one. Yeah, this will be a nice Wednesday night. And then for our main event, like I said, Jose Johnson defeats Hyde Vargas, and this was actually a title fight. So Jose is now your bantamweight champion due to knockout with knees, punches, whatever the hell kind of limb he could use in round 1 in 3 minutes and 39.
Holy shit! It sounds like we can get through this entire card in like a half an hour. Sign me the fuck up.
Hell yeah, damn. Yeah, I'm definitely watching. I wonder if that's on, that'll probably be on like a Fight Pass though.
Yeah, I know it's on Fight Pass.
Put it right there.
Right? So, Warrior Wednesday, we're gonna make that a thing. Especially if it's just gonna be all finishes all fucking night. And I really like that there was a different submission with every finish, right? So each fight finished a different way, and then in the title fight you got a fucking knockout. Holy shit, that's awesome. That's awesome. We need to keep our eye on this this promotion here, Warrior Wednesdays. God damn it. And it's on a weeknight. Why have I not jumped on this train sooner? Fuck.
Weeknight fights, baby. Weeknight fights.
I think we made a mistake. We should have been on this a long time ago. And real quick, before we jump into the UFC Shenzhen, we're on Instagram, HKA_AZ. That is our @. And then on Twitter and Facebook, we're at HeadKick Audio. And then we have the YouTube channel, which you're watching here, which you should go like all those videos if you like them. You know, if you watch a video and you like that shit, push that little button, man. It'll make us feel good. and it'll give us better ratings, viewership, all that good stuff on the channel. And the more stuff, the more interaction we get, the better opportunities we get. Plus, it just makes us feel all good inside, and we want that. We want that.
Definitely. And also click that notification bell so that way every time we get a video uploaded for you guys, especially when we start doing our series, we're gonna start pumping out a lot of videos, and you're gonna want to know when we put that shit up. So when you click that notification bell, turn every notification on, and you'll be in there watching us get our ass kicked or whatever the hell we got going on.
And this will also lead to being able to get outside of Tucson or Sierra Vista. We'd like to venture out to like maybe New Mexico or northern Arizona and check out some other places up there. So anything you guys can do to help us, it's just a push of a button. You're already watching the video, so we know you like it. We know you like it. And shout out to the new territory. We got California, Texas, and Arizona, and Michigan make up the bulk of our listeners, but we added some Florida listeners this past week.
That's what I like to hear.
So,
here, whatever.
Yeah, and unfortunately we don't have enough in the analytics to show where we're at globally, but I'd love to add a couple other states in there. So check us out. That's enough about us. We could go on forever. We really could. We really could. Even though I ran out of things to say. How do you like them apples? UFC Shenzhen was headlined by Jessica Andrade versus Weili Zhang. Your co-headliner was Li Jingliang versus, I'm going to call him Easy Dos Santos. So that was your main and your co-main. We were wrong on our picks. We went 6-5 by the end of the night. We went 6-5 on our HKA picks, which when we do our Bellators, our UFCs, PFLs, and I'm trying to get in on this LFA too. You can follow the hashtag HKA picks, and that'll take you straight to how we're doing on these fights. And we do it just for fun. We don't do it to bet. There was one night where we should have, where we went undefeated, 12-0, and we have been unable to replicate that success. So, unfortunately, we didn't place any bets that night, and I'm glad we didn't place any bets this morning, because that would have been kind of not so good. So
yeah, definitely.
We'll go ahead and start. How do you want to start this card? Do you want to go from the title fight down? Yeah, that's kind of what I want to do.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll go from the top to the bottom to top and stuff. Sorry.
Yeah. Shout out. That took me back a little bit. So UFC on ESPN 15, Andrade versus Zhang, or UFC Shenzhen, was headlined by the title fight, Andrade versus Zhang, and it was all of 42 seconds. And if you told me that the fight ended in 42 seconds, I would say Andrade defended. Boy, would I be wrong. The fight kind of went like this. Jessica started to apply her Andrade pressure, and she got clipped, and Zhang did not let up, eventually leading to the knockout. So 42 seconds is all it took. That's fucking incredible. And now she's the first Chinese-born champion in the UFC, in the history of the UFC, I should say. So I don't know. I said the same thing. I just added, in the history of, to make it sound juicier. I think it worked.
She also has another part of history with her as well. She now owns the second fastest strawweight finish, which has 42 seconds.
Nice. Who has the number one?
They didn't say who the number one was, and I didn't bother looking.
Ooh.
Because I suck at my job.
Nah, you don't suck at your job. You're still an MMA white belt. So, speaking of which, catch Crazy J on the social medias at the MMA white belt.
But I didn't want to find that out, so it's for the continue on, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, there's really not much to say. Andrade, she got knocked out, and she loses her belt. She becomes the second strawweight champ in a row to lose her belt and look relieved. So we're still trying to put that together. Like, why the fuck is everybody so relieved when they lose this belt? I don't get it. I don't get it. You're losing money. You know, and that's why you do this fighting thing. I imagine at this level, it's got to be about the money. Excuse me. In your co-main event, Li Jingliang defeated Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos. Excuse me. Oh, man. Sorry, it's the cerveza. Easy dos Santos, I thought he was going to win, and he didn't. So in the co-main and the main event, we were wrong. Li Jingliang looked phenomenal. He looked awesome. He had the perfect game plan to defeat dos Santos. And on my cards, I had it 30-27 for Li Jingliang. He did not need to finish. He was well on his way to winning that fight and still knocks Zaleski out in the third round with 9 seconds to spare. This becomes one of the latest finishes in a 3-round fight.
Yeah, so, well, he was fighting smart, too. I mean, he wasn't just, going in there, guns blazing. I mean, he was bouncing around, moving, he was picking his shot. He was kind of baiting in those Santos, if you will. Trying to, I guess, instead of, having the pressure put on, he was just kind of like, I'll sit back, I'll let him come to me, and then I'll make him pay for his mistakes.
Well, you see, that's one of the things, too, that makes this fight that much better. It's because that's not the way that Lee fights. Lee is usually taking the Zaleski approach, which is applying lots of pressure, not giving you any room to breathe, and just coming forward. So to see Lee take a step back and become the counter fighter and let the pressure of his opponent work against his opponent, it was a beautiful thing to fucking watch. And the fact that he did not need the finish. He was going to win the fight, and he finished it anyways. Bring this boy to the States. I want to see him fight some more elite competition, and maybe he gets some more training in the States, and it elevates his game. I mean, he already looked damn near unbeatable. This is exciting for the welterweight division. Now, Dos Santos had a 7-fight win streak, and that went bye-bye. So, yeah, he was feeling a little disrespected by the promotion, but I guess the only way to deter that is to not lose fights, buddy. So, especially to guys that aren't ranked, because Dos Santos was, what, number 14, you said?
Yeah, he was ranked 14.
Which is absolutely insane.
At least 15. At least number 15.
I hope he's got a number next to his name come Monday or Tuesday, because it is Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that he's got a number next to his name. And then in your featured bout, you had Kai Kara-France defeated Mark De La Rosa via unanimous decision. Kai Kara-France is slowly becoming one of my favorite flyweights, if not one of my favorite fighters, because the guy is teeny tiny, and boy does he pack a fucking punch. For a flyweight, he's got some serious power, and I really like the way that he fights. He prefers a stand-up game, but is not afraid, well, I wouldn't say not afraid, but, I mean, can work his way out of a deep takedown, which he showed. And he's not afraid to get hit, which that is I think that is more important to me than the amount of your skill. If you're willing to get hit, to get in there and, maybe hit your opponent, that's ingredients for an exciting fighter. It's like your Justin Gaethje. Have you ever seen a boring Justin Gaethje fight?
I've never seen a fight.
A boring Justin Gaethje fight.
Oh, never.
Yeah, see, exactly. Because he's not scared to get hit. Okay? And Kai Kara-France is the same way. He was taking some licks, but he was given more than he was taking, as far as the power punches were concerned. He was definitely landing a lot more power than De La Rosa. De La Rosa was throwing long combinations, but there was nothing on him.
He had no power behind anything. He was just I'll just tag him, and if something has to happen.
Yeah, but De La Rosa definitely, I commend his chin, man. He's got a fucking chin on him because Kai Kara-France threw everything but the kitchen sink and he took it. So, good for him. A fun scrap. Now, real quick, were you able to find out the fastest finish in the strawweight division?
Yes, the official time came at 33 seconds, and Poliana Botello holds that record.
Okay. So, who did she beat? Did you find that out?
Just a second. She beat Sierra Kondo.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah, she beat her with a body kick.
Ooh. All right. Text that to me after the show so I can go back and rewatch that because that sounds dope.
Alright.
All right. Now, real quick, before we continue on with the card, I want to kind of give my scenario for the flyweight division on how I see things should unfold because we got a little bit of time here. So I'll go ahead and try and run through it real quick. Basically, it goes like this. Henry Cejudo comes back from his shoulder surgery, not a gender surgery, and he fights Joseph Benavidez. And then whether he wins or loses that fight, he goes on to fight somebody in the bantamweight division because he's got to defend his other belt. I see Aljamain Sterling as one of the biggest standouts. Right behind him, a close second, in my opinion, is not Peter Yan, it's Corey Sandhagen. Peter Yan falls as a close third, and then you have the fun fights, the Frankie Edgars, the Uriah Fabers, and the Cody Garbrandt. So bantamweight's pretty stacked right now, pretty much in any fucking promotion. So from LFA all the way up to the UFC, bantamweight is just absolutely fucking stacked. So, but in the meantime, you have Matt Schnell and Kai Kara-France fight for a #1 contender bout. Both guys are streaking right now in the flyweight division. Both guys are exciting. They finish guys or they put on exciting fights. You're getting one or the other. You're getting an exciting fight or you're getting a finish. That's how I think the flyweight title picture should be. Unfortunately, I'm not a UFC matchmaker, so I have no say over how the flyweights go. But, I mean, if you have any other suggestions, please feel free to not message me them because I don't care. Song Kenan defeated Derek Krantz via unanimous decision. I had the fight a draw. I don't see how that fight was the decision. I had round 1 for Song, round 2 for Krantz, round 3 for both because they kind of just stared at each other for most of that round.
Yeah, they both were pretty gassed there at the end.
Yeah, so I really dug the... because I was following Twitter pretty hard throughout the whole fights. And Eric Spicely, UFC middleweight, he was kind of making fun of these boys, saying that him and Darren Wynn threw way more through all 3 rounds of their fight and were way less tired. So, Spicely taking a couple digs at a couple guys that are, a little bit lighter than him. Which I think Eric Spicely could make welterweight if he really wanted to. But he's a lot of fun on social media. Mizuki Inoue defeated Wu Yanan via split decision, which not surprising there, and only because of where both of these girls fight, where they're from. Mizuki from Japan, Wu from China. So I definitely wasn't surprised that this fight was called a split decision, but it was very tough to score for at least the first round, if not the first round and a half. Mizuki was coming forward with a lot of pressure, but she wasn't really landing anything. Oh man, my nose just got like super stuffed. It's crazy. I can barely breathe out of my nose. It's nuts. But she wasn't really landing a whole lot, but she was applying a lot of pressure. Now, Yanan was landing sort of, but like in the middle of round 2 and most of round 3, she was exhausted from backpedaling, and she also missed weight. And now Mizuki actually was, I think they're flyweights, and Mizuki is a natural strawweight. And you can tell she was a little bigger around the midsection, so she didn't have to cut so much weight. So I would definitely like to see her at her natural weight class at 115 pounds. I think she wouldn't have to give up so much size because Yanan was way bigger.
Yeah.
So, but it was an interesting fight, and I was definitely interested to see how the judges scored it. I'm not surprised at the split decision, nor do I blame anybody. It was a very hard fight to call, just the way that it played out. Your headliner in the preliminary card heading into your main card was Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, defeating Jun Yong Park via Anaconda choke in round 2 with 21 seconds to spare in round 2. So he battled a little bit of adversity, came back, and he got the submission. Super happy for this guy.
Yeah, I actually didn't see any of that coming, but I'm glad I did because that was a beautiful thing to see.
You know, Fluffy's had a tough road, you know, just in his life, not even like to the UFC. This is actually his first win in the UFC. He was the LFA champ. He beat Brennan Allen, and then he immediately got called up over to the Contender Series. Fought in the Contender Series, got a win over there, and I believe that was, you know, shortly after a family member had passed away, if I'm remembering correctly. So he went and got the win. Elated as he was, he goes into the UFC and loses his first fight there, comes back, has to fly all the way over to China, but gets it done in less than 10 minutes. So you got to feel happy for the guy, especially for everything that he's gone through.
Yeah, definitely.
So, really excited because, his ground game is phenomenal, and I think his striking is getting to where his ground game is at. Because, you know, like I said, on the ground, he's pretty good. And I think his striking's getting there. So, and he's only getting more experience. So, if I'm somebody who's worried about this guy, I'd be calling him out now. I wouldn't be waiting 5 fights from now because he's only going to get better. Su Mudayerji defeated Andrei Sukumta via a crazy unanimous decision here. 30-26 twice and a 30-25. And you said you had round 1 for Sukumta?
Yeah. I felt like he was doing a little bit more in round 1, but at the end of round 1, I believe he broke his left hand.
Ooh.
And so round 2 and 3, he wasn't as, I guess, handy, if you will. So, yeah, the Sue, he just came in and was just like, all right, I'm just going to take advantage of this, and just kind of dominated after that.
All right, and Da Un Jung defeated Kadis Ibragimov via guillotine choke, round 3. So pretty late in the fight, and I am going to speed things up here a little bit so that we can end the show. Damir Ismagulov defeated Thiago Moises via decision, a couple 30-27s and a 30-26. Haley Alanteng defeated Danae Badgarel, and I'm fucking these names up, and I'm not even, I mean, I'm trying, but I'm not really trying that hard. And then your opening fight, Carol Rosa defeated Lara Procopio. And then why don't you go and give us your fight of the night and your performance bonuses, please?
All right, fight of the night goes to the guy that we can't pronounce the name.
Is that the Haley Alanteng and Danae Badgarel?
Yes, sir. And then your 2 performance of the night go to your co-main and main fighters, Li Jinling and Wiley Lei.
Yeah, so these international fight cards are very difficult on us. The Americans, we cannot pronounce shit. You know, so unfortunately we butcher, and we don't have the license to butcher, but we just, you know, don't get us in trouble with it, okay? I mean, fuck. We try. We try. I mean, fuck. But yeah, so that concludes UFC Shin Chen or UFC on ESPN 15, Andrade versus Zhang, whatever you want to call it, UFC China. I even saw that hashtag out there. I wouldn't be upset either way you go. But next week, we have UFC 242. So, we also have on our YouTube channel, which is where you're watching the episode now, we have the Zach Cummings interview, who's going to be fighting at UFC 242, probably in one of the interview sections down below. So I think, do we have a UFC section? Because if we do, he'd be in there.
Yeah, he's in the UFC playlist.
Okay, and then also in that playlist you have UFC Copenhagen headliner Jared Cannonier. That one was a lot of fun too, so make sure you check that out. And then obviously we do our LFA interviews, and we're trying to sprinkle in some other promotions just to keep things interesting for you. If you have anything or any fighters that you would like us to try to holla at, leave your comments below, give us a thumbs up, like this shit, hit your notifications button, support the show. Like I said, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Go check out our Patreon. Right now, there's nothing to pay for, so don't worry about paying unless you want to help us out. But we will eventually have stuff on there that you can pay for and enjoy. So I am Steve the Dick. That is Crazy J. And until next week.